Hello, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Q&A and channel review session. I'm Chrissy Owens. If you guys are new here, if this is your first time here, I'm Chrissy Owens. I'm part of the passive prospecting team, the leader over at the video editing agency as well that we do for passive production. So I'm here to review some channels today. That's what we're going to start with. And just to preface this, and sorry, for some reason, this is really blurry. There we go. We got a lot of submissions this week. And so we usually only do 3. We might be able to get to 4 today, but we'll have to just kind of take it and play it by ear. Usually it's 3 to 4 that we get through. So if I don't choose your channel, don't take it personally. I just had to choose the ones that probably had the most versatile options to talk about, things that would apply to the most number of people. So we'll go through that today with a couple of channels. So we'll start with that. And then, of course, we usually wrap up if you guys have some questions at the end as well. We can go through a couple of questions. Okay, so the first one we're going to start with today is Dave Woodson. And his channel is Living in Northwest Indiana. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I'm also going to turn off all of my Slack notifications because that's going absolutely nuts in the background. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to pull up my screen here. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing here is that you do have a lot of the elements here, Dave. However, it is a little bit plain. And so it doesn't really get me excited when I look at your banner. I come into this and I think, oh man, this is kind of just another basic channel, especially now that we have so many channels that are kind of following the passive prospecting method. You know, it's easy to kind of get lost in the noise. So as much as we want you to, stick to the rules, which I appreciate, I'm a rule follower as well, you also want to have some type of creative spin on it. So something that would showcase your area. So even if you had kind of a transparent image of your location in the background, or if you had your state over here, where the dream state agents, usually with logos, I don't think that those should be showcased so big, because while that is your logo and you do want to brand yourself a little bit, if you give it too much real estate space, you kind of miss out on what the client's actually looking for. So give them a visual of what they are going to expect when they come to your channel. This right here, I would probably make smaller. I'd probably pull this in just a little bit, you in just a little bit, and then maybe put your logo here as a kind of a small little watermark that you could put on there, if you will. And then here I would probably put something that kind of illustrates what you do, relocations, show your area in Northwest Indiana. I would look at our banner. Now, you don't necessarily have to do exactly what we've done with like the United States, the star and the car and plane and train coming over to that community. You could do something else, but overall, I would just have something that kind of illustrates that. And let's see. Oh, and it looks like, am I not broadcasting here? 1 second here. Uh-oh, I think that I forgot to broadcast to our other channels. I apologize. I'm going to have to go ahead and thanks, Gwyneth. We'll have to pop this over to our Facebook page after this. So sorry about that, guys. I forgot to hit all 3 of those. Okie dokie. We'll go back to that. Okay, great. So the next things that I would say is your handle does not really say very much about what you do. And there's 0 keywords in here. And so that to me would probably be something that I would definitely want to change. I would go with Living in Northwest Indiana. Now, if that one is not available, and that's where I think some people get caught off guard, is maybe they go get the exact same handle as their channel name. It's not available, so they default to something short and sweet like that. The handle is going to be way more important than the channel name. And so I would make it keyword rich. So Living in Northwest Indiana official, Living in Northwest Indiana real estate, or something along those lines. That would be a better handle than by NWI. That doesn't tell me anything about your channel. And, it doesn't have keywords in it. And the handle is really important to have keywords in. So I'd probably change that. Next thing I would look at is this. your main video here does not have a thumbnail. And I think, this kind of, well, maybe this is the thumbnail that you chose, but it doesn't really stand out to me. And so I wouldn't really click on this, which is probably why you only have 240 views in 3 years. It just doesn't have a very good thumbnail. So I would probably switch that out, make it bright, bold, exciting, do a headshot. Since you're in an office, I would probably choose to do something that was like a pre-done headshot with like a colorful background and text and things like that. And then also I'm seeing some issues with your SEO here. So 5 reasons you should buy versus rent. That doesn't have any location information in it. And so that's not going to show up for people in your community. Now you do have it in the description, but the headline is going to be more impactful as far as like a first impression for somebody. So you definitely want to double check on your SEO here. Also, let's go look at this video in particular. Let's go look at your overall score here. Pull that up. Yeah, your SEO score is only a 40 here. So it's not going to be pushed out to people. It's probably something to do with the types of tags that you chose to use. You went straight into 5 reasons you should buy instead of kind of explaining what you're going to be talking about. This should be a little bit more conversational. It should include more key phrases, and it's just not long enough. So this is pretty short. And then there's no hashtag. So I would definitely, if you're not in the course, you are in the course because everybody who's here is in the course. So you may not have gotten to this part of the course yet, but you're going to want to go through the SEO sections and the modules there. That will give you a better idea of how to optimize your descriptions, your titles and things like that. This is way too short. You usually want to max out, especially with local SEO. It's a little bit different than just your general SEO strategy. Like what you'll see with like maybe somebody like a Mr. Beast, who's catering to anybody who wants to watch his videos, basically, right? It's like a worldwide audience. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more clickbaity with that type of title, just because you're catering to a completely different audience. You have to throw your net out a little bit wider. With a local SEO strategy, it's a little bit different. You want to be very hyper specific about what you're trying to do and who you're trying to talk to. And so it's better to use all of those characters, make it longer, include more key phrases, location data. That's what you want to create with your headline or your title. Now, of course, there is a little bit of an art to this where you do have to make it clickbaity-ish, something exciting, something that will draw somebody in, but also include the key phrases. So just do a little bit more exploration on that. I'm sure that you can probably come up with something a little bit better. Just add some extra key phrases into that. Do some keyword research on TubeBuddy if you haven't done that already, and that should really help your title on that one. Let's go back over here. Looks like you're just here. Okay, so right here, we've got your description. I would probably not have any links here because one, it's not clickable, so it doesn't really do anybody any good, right? And then again, I think it's fine to have like your contact information here, but like this looks like a lot of plain text to me. And we usually recommend in your description to have some emojis, add a little bit of pop of color, just because there's a lot to read through. And, aside from Google and YouTube using it to rank your channel and help people find your channel and discovery and things like that, you do have people who come in and actually read about you. So you want to make this as exciting as you possibly can and also include plenty of key phrases. And so it looks like you've used a couple of small key phrases, some short tail key phrases in here. You have used some locations here, but I would probably do a little bit more research and see if you can make this more keyword rich. Because to me, I'm seeing a lot of these links here, and the links in general, they're not really great to put in your description just because they're not clickable. And so, you can have a little bit here in your description because occasionally somebody will copy and paste that, but I wouldn't put. See how many calls to actions we have here? We have 1 call to action, 2 calls to action, 3, 4, 5 calls to actions here. You want to eliminate that, make it as simple as possible for someone to understand what you want them to do. So the only link that I would include here would be probably the one to book a call with you. Everything else I would eliminate here in this section. And then of course, I wouldn't want to send anybody except for maybe a website anywhere else on your channel. The website is fine if you have that in your banner, but your Facebook, Instagram, other social media platforms, you definitely want to eliminate those because you don't want people going to, following shiny objects. They won't actually come back to your channel because ultimately YouTube is the number one attractor. It's the number one lead source that's going to just get you a hot lead. You don't want to send them to Facebook or Instagram where they could get lost in the feed and never find you again. YouTube, they're going to keep coming back for more, generally speaking. So that's the way you just want to keep people on your channel. You've worked hard to build up that channel following. I would keep them there as long as possible. And then let's go look and just do a final look over here. Thumbnails could use a little bit of work as well. Like right here, it's really like if I were looking at a mobile device here, this one in particular is going to be pretty hard for me to read. See how the blue and the green really clash together? You need to make sure, like use a white or a something with an outline. Maybe the green, a green and blue generally is not that great, but maybe like a yellow on the blue. You want to use more of like the complementary colors. They're across the wheel from each other. And so if you look at the color wheel, if you use a complementary color on top of those, the sky backgrounds or like a white and black, you want to use opposites so that you can really read the text. This is also a pretty thin font as well. So I would definitely choose something a little bit thicker just so that people can read it a little bit better. Because yeah, I'm seeing that kind of across the board here. These are really hard to read right here. This one doesn't even have a thumbnail, so I would definitely go back and do that. This one is good. I would make you a little bit bigger. And so usually we like to see more of like a headshot. And so like from your forehead to maybe like your mid chest, that would probably be the smallest that we'd want your face to be. Sometimes we even have it like forehead to chin, takes up almost the entire thing. And so you want to make yourself a little bit bigger just so that there's a little bit of humanity added back into the thumbnail and people know that they're going to see, they'll recognize you a little bit better as well when they actually go to the video. So generally speaking, if you can see the whites of the eyes, that's usually the rule of thumb of whether or not you're big enough. So I would definitely switch that. Text is a little too small here. So yeah, on a mobile device, you would not see this at all. So I definitely double check on your text size, make sure it's readable. One of the C's of marketing is confusing. So if it's confusing, people can't read the text, people can't understand what your background is. It doesn't actually play into anything, doesn't make sense to them. They're probably going to pass it over. So that's definitely something I would take a look at. But overall, it looks like you've got a good start. You look like you've been getting some videos up, which is great. That's always the first step. But I would probably, as an overall note, I would revise kind of the designs of your thumbnails and your graphics. I would go back in and do a little bit more SEO research and implement that in your descriptions and in your overall about section. Make sure that your channel is fully optimized. And then the last thing that I would say to you is that I noticed on your videos that you haven't pinned any of your contact information as your first comment. So you definitely want to do that. If you don't do that, you're likely not going to get calls. And so that's a big mistake that I see most people make where they're saying, oh man, I'm not getting a whole lot of calls. Well, we go back and we look and we see that they're not actually adding their contact information. So, when someone's watching the video, it's easy for them to go and look at another video if they don't see the contact information just right there. It's amazing how many people don't just open up the description, even though it's in the description. Most people don't go back to the description to find the contact information. They're trying to find the lowest hanging fruit. So make it as easy as possible for someone to find your contact information. Make your calls to action really, really clear, really small. Only 1 to 2 calls to action really is what you want to put in front of people, and then you should be good to go. So you've got a great start. So just keep going and make some adjustments and you should be great. All right, I'm going to pop back over here and just make sure that I am answering any questions here. Oh, good, Dave. Awesome. I'm glad that was helpful. Okay, great. So I'm going to open this back up. Let's see. Share my screen again. And like I said, we probably won't get to everybody on my list. I'm probably as a max, I'm going to be able to do 4 today. So I apologize if I don't get to everybody But no worries, especially if you're in the video editing program. Just a note. If you are in the video editing program and I don't get to you today, you can always ask for me to look over your channel in one of our Friday calls as well. Our Friday calls are exclusive to our video editing clients, and it's with me. It's usually a small group of us that are on there, and I can usually dive into your channel a little bit more there as well. Okay, Jennifer Goodman. Oh, it's been so long since I've seen you. Awesome. I'm excited to look at your channel today. Okay, so the first thing that I would say is some good design here. I love this. This is really, really cool. I like the background that you have here, but the one thing I'm noticing is that it is a little bit difficult to read. So I'd probably give yourself a little bit more contrast. I do like this a lot. I would probably put new videos every week, because when you actually do this on a mobile device, you're going to find that it cuts off about here and here. And so you want to put your content, like what you're going to be showing people on the channel, front and center on your channel. So you could keep yourself there. I would bring this over here just a little bit, put it right, maybe like from here to here. And then you can have this living in Austin, Texas over here if you'd like as well. You could also do what I recommended to Dave, where you could put this right here, kind of in the corner over here, It's not the most important information. So you could put some type of graphic here that kind of illustrates what people can expect from your channel over in this corner. So that's probably what I would do with that real estate there. And then, of course, I would probably make this a little bit thicker as well, because like right here, I'm noticing this is a little bit difficult to see. I actually didn't even see your arrow here until I really looked closely. And so I'd make that a little bit more contrasting just to draw attention to this section right here. So make this a little bit thicker. Maybe even put a stroke around it or something like that. Just make it your call to action is the most important thing on your banner. So definitely make it stand out however you can. That would be my first suggestion there. Second suggestion is I would make living in Austin, Texas, actually the first part of your channel. And then Jennifer Goodman, you could put a dash there, Jennifer Goodman. And then I'm not 100% sure what this is right now. Maybe it has something to do with your license or something, but I probably would not put this in your title just because it doesn't really make sense to a viewer to see that. And so I would just take that out. If anything, maybe put that in your description. But yeah, probably not in your channel title, but I'd put living in Austin, Texas dash Jennifer S. Goodman, real estate agent or something like that in as like a secondary title instead of having that be first. Okie dokie. Okay, and then the next thing that I'm noticing here is that your timestamps are like front and center here when you're talking about like the description. I would probably make your description a little bit more catchy, exciting, keyword rich, and have that be what shows up. Timestamps we usually have towards the bottom of the description, because that way they still show up for people and they can still scroll through the video with it, but it doesn't need to be front and center. So let's go back to that, because I'm also noticing that your timestamps are not actually showing up on the timeline here, which means that they probably just weren't activated. There's usually a very small reason why they're not working. Let's go over here and double check on that. Because look at this, there's a little space here and that actually deactivated and broke the link. And so you'll want to go in and just delete that. If you don't have 000000 as your starting point and it's not perfect, it doesn't activate your channel chapters. So I would definitely make sure that you fix that. And that way those will actually show up on the timeline for you. That will really help your overall view duration most likely. Also, I'm not noticing, let me see it. And maybe I just started it before I actually looked. Hopefully that there's also, oh yeah, you have a thumbnail on that. That's good. But yeah, I would probably improve that just a little bit. I'm seeing that you have a 95 on your score, but I'm looking at this and just the title, and I wouldn't really consider this to be like 100%. So this is a really good, and this is one of the reasons I chose your channels, because this is a really good example of how like a 95 or a 100 score on TubeBuddy can be misleading. Because while you can get like 100%, I'm seeing a lot of places where this could be improved. And so there's ways to kind of rig the system and get 100% without actually having like a good composition with your SEO. So let's go through this. So get the latest Austin, Texas market stats for November 2021. So this is a market report. And so this is a little bit of an exception to the rule. you do need to have some, some dates in here and everything. One thing I will say before I move on from this thought is that this is from November 2021, which was 2 years ago. And this is still the channel trailer for your channel, which I would definitely switch that out because this is not accurate for the time. So I would definitely switch that out with something more relevant. That's one thing that I would do. But get the latest Austin, Texas market stats. That's just, when you go on a mobile device, this is taking up a lot of real estate. I would say Austin, Texas market stats for November 21. And then maybe at the end of this, say latest update or something like that to make it more catchy. And that way you still have the words in there. People can see that if they just decided to expand it. But ultimately you want to give people what they're looking for as quickly as possible because our attention spans are so short. So get the latest. We've already read 3 words into it and we still haven't gotten to the meat of the headline. So I would just say get to the meat of the headline first and then add some of the extra information in afterwards. And then also I'm looking here and see how we don't have any description here. Like you have enough information about Austin, Texas in the rest of your channel description that you're getting about a 95%, but this actually is not very impactful. I'm looking at this and this isn't going to tell us anything about the video. And so most people are going to pass this over. So you'll want to get a lot of keyword rich, a big 250 word about that description full of keywords from your transcript, things that you're going to be talking about, 2 to 3 paragraphs of things that are actually relevant to the video. That will make it much more impactful. And then your 100% score, get that last 5% as well. And that should help. And then of course, this is another one. You want to make sure that you're pinning your comment, your first comment with your contact information as well. And that will help you get more calls. But good job with the hashtags here. I'd probably do more like 5. We recommend 3 to 5. We usually try to max those out at 5. So I'd do a little bit more here. But yeah, I would definitely say just more of a description would be great. And that way you're not showcasing your timestamps as like the meat of the video on your description, especially for a channel trailer. You want that to be very impactful and keep people coming back for more. All righty, let's see. So yeah, this is another title right here. Scott, this is for someone from the outside looking in. I don't know Austin at all, so I'm a perfect candidate for looking at this. I don't know anything about this. This doesn't even make sense to me. I'm looking at this. This is probably like a community or a builder, but I don't know the difference. And so from someone who's looking into this and having no idea what this is, I would much rather have like $1 million home in Austin, in the coveted community of Scott Felder in Austin, Texas. That's a lot more descriptive than Tom Felder, Lindell, and then the stats of the house. You'll want to give people an idea. Okay, this is where I'm looking. Oh, interesting. My price range is $1 million and I'm looking to move to Austin, Texas. Oh, this is a community in Austin, Texas. So you want to give people enough information in that headline to make a decision. Plus it will help your SEO and help it be more searchable as well. So that would be where I would fix that one. Your thumbnails are good though. So your thumbnails are not bad. Definitely just make sure, like in some of these places I'm noticing like here, like the red on the white, that's fine. I would probably put like a shadow or maybe like a stroke, like a white stroke or something, just to make it a little bit more visible. Because again, you always want to think of the smallest screen that you're going to be on, which is mobile. And on mobile, Windside Park bungalow is going to be really small. So even if you wanted to go off market property or off market gem, or I can't believe this is off market or something, something along those lines, might be a little bit more descriptive. It'd be easier to see because it's fewer words. I mean, how many words is this? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 4 or 5? 4 words, no, 5 words, basically. Usually 3 to 4 is what we max out at. We really shoot for more like 3 on ours because less is more usually on these thumbnails. Same thing like 2023 sale right here. That one I can barely see on desktop. So it would definitely be very difficult to see on mobile. So I'd change that. So yeah, just as far as contrast, make sure it's really easy to see stuff, and then make your titles a little bit more descriptive and keyword rich. And that's going to really help you in your searchability. But overall, not a bad start at all. Like I said, I am digging this picture. I think this is really cool. it really showcases who you are. I've spoken to you so many times, so I know you're kind of know your personality, and this fits you completely. So I love that. Just make things a little bit bolder, a little bit more keyword rich, and you are off to the races. Cool. I'm going to come back over here, make sure that I am checking all the comments as they're coming in. You're so welcome, Jennifer. Hi, Chrissy. The Friday call. So the Friday call is just for our video editing clients. So if you're in the Done With You program, or if you're in just purchased an individual editing package, those calls are open to you. That is just with me. We talk about just video flow, questions about creating better videos, improving your channel, those types of things. So we can dig in a little bit deeper into your channel on those Friday calls if you decide to join in on those. Very cool. Okay, great, Vinny. Yeah. So if you go to your coordinate board in your summary section, you'll see a link to that Friday call. And you have to get scheduled at least 24 hours in advance for that, because that way I can prepare. If you do need me to go in and dive into your channel, it will give me a chance to be able to budget time for that. So you do need to sign up for that about 24 hours in advance. Yes, living in North Texas. I'm not sure what. Is this Jennifer? You look like Jennifer. If I got you wrong, let me know. But yes, those Friday calls, like I said, they're in the summary section. There's a link to schedule to be on that call. Awesome. And then I'm so sorry. Maybe La Cruces, New Mexico living. I'm not sure what your name is, so I apologize for not calling you out by name. But if you are in the Done With You program, you can sign up for those calls whenever. If you are not in the editing program yet, you haven't sent any calls yet, you haven't purchased an editing package yet, you won't be able to get into those calls. Done With You clients do get the added bonus of being able to hop onto those calls even before they're ready to get started on videos. So yes, feel free to join in those. Awesome. Okay, awesome. Yeah. You are welcome to jump in on those if you're, because I think you're in the Done With You program, correct? If you are, then you can hop in those calls, whenever, as soon as you get started with that. So you don't have to have videos done yet if you're in the Done With You program. Yes, moving to Richmond, Virginia. Yes, the channel reviews are only for our course clients. So if you are interested in possibly doing the course, we do have about a 45-minute to an hour long call that we do throughout the week. You can learn a little bit more about the course. You can talk to me and Levi at the end of the call to answer any questions that you might have. But yeah, our channel reviews are only for our course clients. Okay, perfect. So let's hop into our next channel review. I think this one is Adela. All right, 1 second. We're going to go ahead and share. I'm going to make sure I have the right one here. Okay, great. Oh, wait a second. I'm in the wrong one. Sorry. Share the screen. Okay, Jeff. I'm going to close this too because I've got some notifications going off here. Okay, so Jeff Beltzer, you asked for a channel review as well. So hopefully you're on the call today. If not, we are always recording this as well. So no worries on that. So let's go through your channel right here. Again, this is kind of a recurring theme today. We want to make sure that this information right here is really more an illustration of what you do and not how to get in contact with you. Having a phone number here, see how many calls to actions we now have. And these ones, they can't really even act on immediately. Of course, someone could probably call you, but no one's going to type in your email. They're going to want to copy and paste that. So that's kind of a waste of real estate space right there. Also, we never recommend having your phone number in the banner. One, because you will get spammed. Trust me, there are bots out there. They're going to go in and people are going to find your number and call you, and you're going to be on robo lists for the rest of your life. So I would probably take that off completely. And then here, you're going to want to have more of like now let's see before I speak, let's actually go in here and see what it is. Okay, you do have a survey here, so that's good. Having that is what you want your main call to action to be, is actually contacting you this way. And that way they're actually scheduling an appointment with you instead of emailing you. So you want to take that off. The phone number. Now, again, another reason why we don't have you put this in the banner is because if your phone number ever changed, then you wouldn't be able to, I mean, you'd have to go in and change this. You'd have to change it all across, not only your descriptions, but you're also going to end up having to change it across your banner. It's another reason why we tell you not to put it over as an overlay in your video itself, because if that ever changed, you can't change that. Now, again, with the cover photo, you could always go up and update it, but it is a little bit of a hassle. And again, you want to really keep your calls to action very, very minimal on your channel banner. Your channel banner should lead as the one call to action, or two, I guess. First call to action is either to subscribe to the channel so they consume more content, or to actually contact you. Those are more powerful than actually having the other two items on there. So I would definitely take that off. This is also a little bit too vague for me. Ventura Living real estate updates and tips. That doesn't ask anybody to do anything or tell anyone what they're going to learn by being on your channel. It requires people to leave too much to the imagination. So I would really make this a little bit of a stronger call to action, or, telling people what they're actually going to get from your channel. That's why we usually say, subscribe, new videos every week, subscribe to learn all about living to Ventura, California. That's a little bit more descriptive. It's a stronger call to action because it actually asks them to do something and why they should do it. And so you want to make it very intentional here. And then, of course, again, it's kind of the same thing as what I was telling Dave. This is a little bit too bland in the background. You want to make this more inviting as far as in telling people, okay, this is what it looks like to live here. Give people a small glimpse into what Ventura looks like. So typically we recommend having some type of picture, lifestyle related picture of what they can expect when they move there. Jennifer's a really good example of the other side of the coin, where it's kind of showing this is the lifestyle. You're lounging, right? This is a great place to live. It's relaxing. It's awesome. It's cool. Like, that's lifestyle related. So having something like that in the background is powerful. Another really good example, a lot of people end up using an actual picture of their location as their background. And I would recommend that as well. Usually I would say have it be kind of faded a little bit, because that way you can still have some good contrast with your text. You don't want to have it be too busy in the background, but you do want to have some type of glimpse into what living there looks like, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would just make a little bit more use of your space. There's a lot of dead space here too. This right here is really kind of boring. This is an icon that people, I mean, that would immediately turn me off. This talk speaks finance more than it speaks real estate to me. This speaks more finance than it does a contract. Like, as somebody who's been in this space for a long time, obviously I kind of recognize what it is, but kind of think in the mind of the consumer, the person who's going to be coming and watching your videos. Real estate is typically scary, right? Real estate, it's like people are afraid of moving. They're afraid of contracts. They're afraid of the home purchase process. And looking at stuff like this, it feels very cold. And so I'd probably take those icons away and fill it with more inviting things, more color, more background, focus more on the lifestyle. And that should be a little bit more impactful for you. All right, let's go look at some videos really quick. Okay, yeah, so big problem here. Home inspections. That doesn't tell us anything. Sushi scramble also doesn't tell us anything. So this isn't going to help anybody figure out what your video is about. Probably no, and yeah, 2 views in 6 days. That's probably why. Nobody's interested in trying to figure out what, especially in, this is short form content here. Short form content, you have to think that the mindset behind the person who's watching that, they have an even smaller attention span than somebody who's there to watch a full length video. They're probably doing this. And that's probably what's been happening to your videos. They've been doing this because they immediately see, oh, home inspections. That means nothing to me. Sushi scramble. No idea what that means. I don't know why it's on a YouTube channel for real estate, right? So yeah, definitely make sure that you revise those, because that's another thing to keep in mind with shorts content. Shorts is still searchable. Shorts are very searchable. This is something that just recently changed in the past 6 to 9 months. They're searchable now. There's SEO value in actually optimizing each one of your shorts. So it's more than the headline. You need to also optimize your description. Do as much optimization as you possibly can they're going to be pulling stuff from your transcript. So it's really important to, especially that headline is going to be number one. Description is going to be secondary. That's mostly back end stuff, but the headline is going to be number one. It definitely needs to be keyword rich, needs to tell the idea quickly. Again, get to the meat of the idea immediately, because you just have to think about that. That attention span is going to be very, very, very short with short form content. Really good. I like this right here. This is great. I would make you a little bit bigger. The thumbnail itself is really good though. I think that that's a really fun text style. You know, it kind of gives an idea. I would put maybe a little bit more saturation, because again, we're talking California. California, everybody's thinking the beach. They're thinking blue skies. So definitely bring that out. Bring that contrast out with the sky, make it bright, make it bold. So I'd probably make this more saturated here. The text is really good though. I do really like that text. That font style is really good and it's very easy to read. So let's go look at your descriptions here. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is another thing I would definitely stay away from putting emails and phone numbers here, because and Instagram. I really wouldn't put anything that draws anybody away from your YouTube channel. So this I would take away. This I would take away. If that ever changed, trust me, we never ever thought our phone number or our email would change, but that happened to us at the very beginning of the channel. Luckily, at the very beginning of the channel, and yeah, we had to go in and do a blur in the edit tool, and it doesn't look good. It's on our earlier video, so if you want to go back and dig, you'll be able to find it probably, but we had to blur out some stuff and it is a pain to do. You have to do it manually. That's not fun. I would refrain from doing that moving forward. Then again, I would take that overlay off. Again, I would make this as long as possible. If there's 100 character limit on your video titles, and I would use every bit of that you can. Keyword centric, make sure that it's got, you know, some catchy pieces. I like this initial channel, or this initial title for this video. I think that this is a pretty decent beginning, but I think that you could fill this in with more keywords. And so go to your keyword section, which based on this score, it looks like you probably don't have any tags. So I would definitely go in, make sure that you've got some tags here. Yeah, and see, this is another really cool feature. You can go over, and if you just hover over this score, it'll tell you exactly where you need to fix this. So yeah, you don't have any tags. I can tell that you don't have tags anywhere. So you definitely need to go in and make sure that you're tagging that, do some keyword research. I usually like to start with the shortest tail key phrase. So like Santa Barbara, California would be one. Ventura, California would be one. California cities or California town, California towns, that type of thing. So I would go in and do some keyword research. Don't just guess. That was me guessing, just based on, you know, what I've seen with other California channels, but definitely do some keyword research and then make sure you incorporate that. Now, this is not a bad length. I mean, this is a pretty awesome length of description. So if you were to go in and put some tags in there, that would probably solve a lot of the ranking issues. So I would go do that. Now you only have one little chapter. So I would definitely go in and fix that. That's not going to help anybody find anything in the video. And the chapters are really important. It does help people figure out what they want from the video. It tells people what they're going to find in the video. It makes it look way more professional. It'll put little, you know, dividers all across the video. And so it makes it a lot more easy to navigate for people. It's like the equivalent of reading a novel and having absolutely no like headers or like subtitles or anything like that you can kind of navigate through. It's really difficult to read something that doesn't have, you know, some of those separating items in it. So that kind of, think of that when you think of a video, think of it as kind of like a mini novel, and that will help you kind of organize it a little bit better. But yeah, it looks like for the most part, you're just lacking the tags and the keyword research. So I would make sure that you do that. Other than that, I mean, you've got a really good start here. I mean, it's not bad. I would just say, as far as just kind of overall thoughts, just to kind of sum it up for you, shorts, make sure that they're searchable. Make sure that you're optimizing those. Make sure that you're going through and actually doing keyword research and populating the tags section, because it doesn't look like you have that. Let's see if you have playlists as well. Yeah, it looks like you've got a couple of playlists here. Now, Is it optimized? Let's go check. Nope, it's not optimized. So that's another thing, is that playlists are searchable as well. They will show up in Google search. And so you want to make sure that this section right here, you can edit this description. And so usually it's going to be something very similar to what you have in your overall channel description, but it'll be specific to Ventura. And so, or Ventura, sorry, if I'm saying that wrong, sorry. So I would say this playlist is all about living in Ventura, California. If you're looking for homes in Ventura, California, this is the place to come. And then you'd put like your, now of course that was a really, really short description. I would try to make it a little bit longer than that, 2 to 3 paragraphs. And then I would put your contact information in there. And so that's how you would optimize each one of those playlists. So go through that. I would probably optimize your playlist and then optimize each one of your videos a little bit more thoroughly, and you should be on your way. And then again, I would double check all of your thumbnails. If you're noticing that some of your videos are not performing as well, I would go through and make sure, I would go and change the thumbnail first, because there are a few in here, like in here, I'm seeing this one. This one's kind of basic to me. This one could use a little bit of extra oomph to it, right? Like maybe make the text a little bit better. The text here doesn't really tell me a whole lot about what this video is about. So I would probably check on that. This is kind of, that doesn't really invite me in. I don't really know what that is. So I would kind of rethink, just think again, always go back to think, is this going to make sense to the person who's never seen anything about this community? Assume that they know absolutely nothing about your area. Assume that nothing is common knowledge. And that will really help you come up with better titles, better descriptions, and better thumbnails. If you assume that the client knows absolutely nothing about your area, that will help you just start from scratch. Start from the lowest knowledge level about your area, and that will serve the most number of people. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, let me come back here. I'm going to stop screen sharing here for a second. Let's go and check on some questions. Hi, Chrissy. I'm in the dump for your program. However, I opted out of video editing. Can I still jump on the Friday calls? That would depend. That kind of depends. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure who this is. So maybe email support@passiveprospecting.com. We'd have to double check on your program and see what happened with your program. And if you never sent us in videos, then you can hop in those calls for 30 days. And then you would have to get into the editing program. So you would have 30 days to be able to take advantage of that. If you decided not to do video editing. So it would just kind of depend. It depends on the situation. I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but yes, I would double check. Like I said, support@passiveprospecting.com. That would be where you would message to get information on that. Adela is great. Yes, Adela. And actually, Adela, I think I have your channel up for review as well. So I'm going to pop into that in just a minute. Let's see. We can't see what you're looking at. Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I just do an entire channel review that you guys couldn't see? I apologize. That my camera was on the other screen, so I apologize. Is there a 250 character? Yeah, it's actually more than that. I think it's 1,000 characters if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, I would do, like a 100 to 250 word description for your playlist, and then put like your contact information afterwards, and that should be fine. Oh, okay, good. I'm glad that I didn't just do an entire channel review that people couldn't see. I'm glad you guys could see. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, we have time for one more. Oh, wait a second, Vinny. Yes, so you can really optimize. Yeah, so the playlist, you can optimize your playlist. So I would definitely do that for each one. That'll make everything a little bit more searchable on your channel. All righty, last one, guys. And I am so proud because usually we only get through 3, and I had this one up kind of on reserve in case we had some time, and we have time for one more. So Adela, you are up. I'm going to pull this up really quick. Let's see. Is it this one? Yes. Okay. So we're going to take a look at your channel. So first things first, I think this is a little far over. So I would probably pull this over because this is going to be cut off a little bit. And you want to use this real estate as best you can. This is kind of just dead space at this point. So I'd probably pull this make these a little bit smaller, and then pull all of this over to here. And then I would pull this information over here and have it be a little bit more dead center, because otherwise you're probably, and I could be wrong, but you're probably getting cut off like right here. So you're not even going to see your full name. So I'd probably pull that over just a little bit more. And I personally, I don't really like black and white pictures for cover photos because there's much contrast. Now, I do have to applaud you. The contrast is great. It's really easy to read stuff. However, it doesn't really make your area look that great, right? You live in Florida, like the easiest place to showcase. You've got beautiful blues and turquoise. Like you have all these incredible coastal colors. So I would definitely opt for more of like a bright background and maybe more white text overlaid with that. Now you could still have kind of like a black transparency going on over top just to make it darker. But I mean, to have some of those coastal colors coming through would make it look a lot more attractive. This kind of looks like someone's heading to prison. If I'm being completely honest, it's like the red and the black. It looks like someone's, like Fort Lauderdale is actually like a ghost town. That's the first thing that I thought of was ghost town. And here it is. I'm pretty sure this is the beach right here. So I would probably showcase a little bit more of like what people love about your area and make it very bright and beautiful. That's my first thought. Now, one thing that I heard through the grapevine that you were struggling to get some leads. And I think I have pinpointed a big reason why. The first thing that I noticed when I came is one. Now, this one in particular is 100%. However, this is another really good example where 100% on TubeBuddy doesn't mean that it's optimized well. So this right here, it's not long enough in my opinion, and it only has one mention of Fort Lauderdale. There's no other keyword, local keywords in here. And so that's going to make it very hard to find. And then also this description is lacking big time. So you have enough, Fort Lauderdale is probably what you optimize this for. And so I see Fort Lauderdale here, Fort Lauderdale's down here. And so you have enough mentions of that main key phrase. So you are going to get probably 100%. However, this part right here does not say anything about the video. So people are going to pass this over because they're like, okay, well, if that's all I'm getting out of this video, maybe I don't want to watch it, right? So you need to have a really robust, very rich description full of key phrases from your transcript here to make it more searchable. Because really what you're limiting yourself to here is only ranking for Fort Lauderdale, really. I'm not seeing too many other key phrases that you're really going to rank for. And when you go through and you actually create a keyword-rich description, keyword-rich title, you're giving yourself the opportunity to rank for multiple key phrases, which is how you get discovered. If you only rank for one key phrase, then you're really limiting yourself and kind of shooting yourself in the foot on who can actually see those videos. They would have to be only looking for they'd have to basically be searching for Fort Lauderdale exactly, not Fort Lauderdale homes or Fort Lauderdale real estate or something along those lines. You want to give yourself lots of opportunities to rank for different key phrases that people are looking for. So let's go down here. Also, only 3 chapters here. So that doesn't give people enough chapters to work with to really feel like, oh, okay, I could, if I wanted to, I could jump around. You want to think of the user experience, and this kind of is a poor user experience here. Like intro gated communities. That doesn't even make sense. So I would definitely make sure that you want to make these more like sentences. That way, when someone's reading this, they're like, oh, okay, maybe, even if you were to add intro to these amazing Fort Lauderdale gated communities, that's a way better chapter title than intro gated communities. So I would definitely improve these, increase the number of chapters that you actually have here, and that will really help people navigate this as well. Last thing I'm going to say, look what's missing. Your contact information isn't here. And it's amazing how many people will not go back in here. You may have your contact information everywhere, but if it's not right in their face when they're wanting to talk to you, they're not going to click on it. And we find that this section right here gets clicked. We have different links for different places. So like we have one for the description, we have one for the banner, blah, blah, blah. We have different links to just tell us where people are linking from. This is a big one. The comment section is a huge one. And so you always want to pin your contact information right here at the top of the comments. And again, you want to pin it. There will be a little three dot piece right here that you'll click on, and it will say pin comment. So you want to do that every single time, and people will call you a lot it'll make it a lot easier. You want to make it extremely easy for people to find your contact information. So that is definitely something that's missing. So I think that that might be a big reason why you're not getting calls, is because one, your contact information is just not very available. And two, this is really lacking. Your SEO really needs a lot of work on your headline and in your description. If you could fix those things, that's going to drastically improve how many people can see your videos. And I think it's just putting your net out a little bit wider, and you'll be able to get more people. I think you're just not getting enough people actually watching your videos. So let's go back over here. Another thing that you could use is a channel trailer. There's no channel trailer here. You want to choose, usually what we usually will choose is something that is trending right now, something that has done very, very well. Maybe even the video that just has the most views. One that has a really catchy thumbnail. If you don't have a whole lot of views yet, that's where I would go with that. So definitely choose a channel trailer there. A few of these could use a little bit more contrast. I think thumbnails need some work. Like this right here from a mobile device, that's not going to be able to be seen. Also, yellow, generally speaking, unless it's like a gold color, I think that doesn't really speak luxury to me. And so I would probably rethink the font that you're using there. That looks kind of like a basic, sans serif font. Is a little bit Word document to me. So I would definitely rethink your fonts there, make it a little bit thicker. Maybe use a white instead of a yellow, or a gold would be great. Just make sure that there's enough contrast. I'm also noticing on some of these, like this one right here is so busy. I don't think I would ever click on that, just because the text is really small and it doesn't really say what your video is about. This is too many words on this one. So I would really be and this is a story that I said before. If you've been on here before, when I've told this story, I apologize, but there is, a rumor about the Queen of England that she only ever used an exclamation point once, maybe twice in her entire reign. And when she was asked about it, she said that if it was, and I'm going to butcher the quote, this isn't even remotely close to her verbatim version of the quote, but the basic gist of it was that you shouldn't ever have to use an exclamation point, because if you are speaking eloquently enough, you should be able to say exactly what you want to say without having to use any punctuation marks to make it better. And that's kind of how I feel about thumbnails, is that if it's not simple, to the point, and still showing people what they need to see, it's not a good thumbnail. So if you feel like you need to use 5, 6, 7 words, you need to go back to the drawing board, because that means that it's going to be confusing to the end user. 3 to 4 words should be more than enough. And it should be very, very clear what people are going to get from the video. So it forces you to get a little bit creative, but I would probably, do that. See, Florida property taxes, this is a great example of a good video. See, and this one is reflecting the views too. 337 views from 2 weeks ago. That's really good. You'll see that that's a big difference between this one right here. This was 3 weeks ago and it only has 154 views. See the difference between these two? Awesome contrast, 3 words, provocative kind of, thing from you, or it looks like you're cussing. I mean, this is really engaging. This is a much better thumbnail than something like this. See how the difference is there? Even this one 4 weeks ago, the colors here are like faded 80s, and it's not enough of a contrast. Like, it makes your water look really, really dull. I would definitely brighten up the background and make it a little bit more of a contrast. You can see the big differences between the ones that are like the really, really awesome thumbnails and ones that are kind of like middle of the road. So I would definitely rethink some of those. This one's okay, but this is a little blurry right here. So Rio Vista on a mobile device, that's gonna be really hard to see. Yeah, overall, I think that you could use some more. See, this is beautiful. Look at this. This is now this has smaller numbers of views, but you also released it probably when your channel was a little younger. This is a beautiful. Now, Coral Ridge is a little difficult to see, but as far as the background contrast is exactly what I want to see from a Florida channel. So I definitely take a look at your thumbnails. Make sure that you're actually pinning your comments so that people can actually find your contact information, and then go back and do some SEO on your channel. Your SEO is probably the biggest thing that's missing. I just don't think you're getting out to enough people. You're not being able to be discovered. It's probably a lot of like your actual subscribers that are looking at this. You're probably not reaching a lot of new audiences just based on the SEO that I'm seeing. So I would improve that. And I think that you'll be good to go. Let's try to improve that and then maybe revisit it and see where we're at after you've improved your SEO for your channel. Cool. All right, let's go back to the channel here are the questions here. Yeah, see that's one thing that I want to just reemphasize. I think this is a really good theme for today. TubeBuddy, it's helpful, but it's not the end all be all, right? 100% doesn't mean that you've done an amazing job with your SEO. You have to go back. That's why it's so important with the course, and what we emphasize in the course is really understanding what makes up that 100% score. Anybody can go out and get TubeBuddy and try to do their best with it, right? But if you don't understand the concepts of SEO, then you can miss it by a mile because you're going off of 100% score instead of actual good composition. You have to understand what good SEO composition is to really make an impact with your YouTube channel. So make sure that, again, if you're kind of a little bit foggy on what makes a really good SEO score and what really is kind of just like a basic 100%, we have some really good tutorials in the course, in the modules, where we talk about where we do the keyword research and how to actually compose a good description. I would definitely go back and rewatch that if you're a little bit foggy on the details there. Pin contact. Yep. Every single video. Yep, absolutely. If you're not doing that, you're missing out on a lot of people, because most people, they just want to see the contact information immediately, and that's what they're going to use to call you. They probably won't go back up to your banner. They probably won't go back into your description. You're going to want to meet them in the middle, meet them exactly where they're at, put that contact information and pin it to the top. Are you saying we're to write a comment that includes our contact information for every single video? Yes. So you would want to just basically go in. You don't need to write something brand new every single time, but you can go into your description in that little section that that has your contact information. Just copy that, paste it, and pin it. You can do the exact same thing for every single video. One trick that you can use to do this, and so if you're scheduling it and you don't want to think about it later, go in, schedule it or publish it as unlisted as soon as everything is optimized. And then you can go to the front end, pin your comment, and then go schedule it. If it's private, you won't be able to go in and schedule that or be able to pin the comment because it's a private video, but you can pin it beforehand and it will just be listed as the first comment. And so go ahead and do that. Start with unlisted, pin the comment, and then go schedule it. And then you don't have to, you can set it and forget it at that point. Lots of tips today. Thank you. You are so welcome. I love doing these. And I like I said, I've said this a million times. I talk so fast, guys. I have so much going through my brain. I just tend to talk really, really fast. So if at any point I do these trainings and you just think I'm going way too fast, tell me to slow down. Happy to do it. But I'm glad that you got some value today. Great info. Thank you. You're so, so welcome. And we are right at the top of the hour. So thank you so much for joining us today, guys. We try to do these at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, just depending on our schedule. So we'll plan on doing another round of these next time. And again, if you're in the editing program and you really want to get your channel reviewed, or you want me to take a look at your analytics or anything like that, feel free to jump on our Friday calls. I can hop into those. I can do a limited number of those during our calls as well. I just need to know in advance so I can budget time for that. I love that you talk fast. Thank you. I was always, as a kid, I was always told, Chris, you need to slow down. So, you know, I tend to talk very, very fast, but I also try to get through things very efficiently. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys today. Thank you so much for hanging with me today. We'll plan on seeing you guys on another training. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.